Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here with another Falconry video. Today's video is the last video I'm making in the year 2022. So we're going into the new year, and I wish you all a happy new year and say good riddance to 2022, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's been an interesting year for myself and for falconers. So, falconry, not only in my country but worldwide, we've seen issues with the avian bird flu running rampant, particularly with waterfowl, so ducks, geese, things like that. So a lot of hunters of those as their quarry, especially longwingers, falcon flyers, have lost birds to the avian bird flu. And a lot of people have, just because of that, said, I'm not flying my bird this year, which is hard. You put all the effort into training and keeping and the upkeep of a bird, and then it's like, can't hunt a certain prey base because you're risking losing your bird. But we know, of course, it's always a risk. I lost a falcon to a golden eagle that killed it this year. It's not fun, and that's part of the risk of falconry. There's always a risk. I had a falcon killed by an eagle this year. I've also had an eagle in years past that was shot by people illegally. So falconry is always a risk. But, in a year like this, it's like, well, how much of a risk do you put in? We've also had issues with a huge drought in the Intermountain West that's affected prey populations as well as raptor populations. So trapping birds has been tricky depending on what species you are looking for. And rabbits, last year we had the rabbit hemorrhaging disease sweep all throughout the United States. And it came in from domestic rabbits, and then it hit the wild population and just decimated most populations. So if you're hunting rabbits, that has been very difficult too. A lot of people accordingly have moved to micro-hawking, hunting smaller birds like kestrels and merlins and sharp-shinned hawks and Cooper's hawks as a more viable option during some of these strained times. So I'm very hopeful for this new year and hope things even out and get a little bit better. But yeah, it's falconry is full of ups and downs personally and even as an entire community. But so I wanted to kind of, with the new year as a chance to sort of reflect on your own life. And in my case, I kind of wanted to reflect on this channel and where it's going to go. This past year, 2022, I had a goal, and that was to have at least one video up every week. I shot for every Monday, and I think I was true to that, except for I almost died and was hospitalized back in May, and I know I missed a week then. And I know last week I was out of town for Christmas, so I didn't get one up this past Monday. But I think that's it. I think other than that, I was pretty true to that. So that's my first question for you, if you're a viewer of this channel. Do you like that level of frequency? Would you like more? Is that too much? Other questions I have. Would you like to see more long, in-depth videos or more shorter videos? Or try to have a healthy mix of both? It seems like a lot of people want different things. I was going back over my channel, and it seems like a lot of really important content I made a few years back. And so it's way buried in my falconry playlist. And it's when I had really bad production values, bad camera, really horrible editing software. And so I have thought about redoing some of those and kind of doing a better job of doing that, especially because some people never dig that deep into my old videos and don't even know. They're like, you should do a video on this or that. And I'm like, here's a link to, I already did. But the whole reason, my channel is not a falconry channel. It's become that. But I mean, I do other things. I've mostly just done falconry videos these years, but I have a lot of other things too, from astrophotography and fire dancing to art, motorcycles, all kinds of things that I like to do. Experimental archaeology, flint napping, have a lot of interesting hobbies, black powder rifle shooting even. I mean, there's a paleontology particularly focusing on either the Cretaceous or the Pleistocene. And I mean, my house is full of Ice Age skeletons from Ice Age animals. Got a couple Velociraptor skeletons too, or casts of them, a full cast. So, it's I'm going to do some other videos like that as well, but would you like to still see at least weekly videos on falconry? Let me know about that. The whole reason why I even started making falconry videos, I grew up when books were far more the where you got your information on falconry. That's why I wrote this, Trapping Essentials. If you haven't gotten a copy yet, go to Western Sporting Publications. You can buy a copy. It's a how-to book I wrote and illustrated, and it's done well. But I wrote it right kind of when the internet really became the main source of information for people. And not only websites, but when YouTube really started to take off for the falconry community. And I hesitated forever. The main reason is I'm very self-conscious, overly self-conscious about how falconry is portrayed. I'm very conservative about it and very worried about it. But I started to see more and more people who were just making videos that in my mind were sort of sloppy in how they portrayed falconry. Which is understandable when you're newer to the sport, but it kind of worried me. And so I kind of thought, well, I want to counter that. If you got tons of that being produced, I would like to try to make some useful information that hopefully depicts falconry in a better light, in a less sloppy way of presentation. And I think it's been good. But again, you tell me, what kind of videos would you like to see going forward? As far as this year, some of the challenges I face, it's tricky. It's surprisingly expensive. Even just my stupid subscription for the editing software I use costs me an arm and a leg every month. And it's actually hard to live life and practice falconry and try to film any of it. It doesn't seem like it would be. If I had some cameraman just following me around or something, it would be way easier. But I don't have that. And it's tricky. For example, this year I said I was going to do a bunch of trapping videos. I do have a lot of videos still where they have raw stuff that I have to put together. But so much of the time, I'd get out there to help people trap their bird. And we were successful. But in the thick of things, it's like, nah, just go get the bird or got to do this or that. And we weren't able to properly depict things. So we were focusing on the task at hand. And same thing, out flying birds, there's some masters out there. There's some California falconers that are particularly good at, flying their bird and whipping the camera up and being able to film it. I have yet to master that. Every time I try to do it, it's like, trying to focus. And so it's kind of tricky to do. So I didn't get as much of that as I had hoped. One of the things, too, that I had really hoped to do was to fly a rough-legged hawk this year. Very few people have I ever heard of, other than me, that I know of who have trained them and hunted with them. And I haven't done it for decades. And so I had every intention of trapping one. But the migration didn't come my way this year. I've looked all over, even places where friends have claimed they have seen one. And I only found one, and she got bumped off by a red-tailed hawk, and we couldn't get her to come down. And normally they're easy to trap. They're amazing birds, so maybe I'll do that next winter as a way to kind of demonstrate, because I have very particular training techniques and husbandry techniques for roughlegs that I really was looking forward to highlighting. Back in the day, I haven't flown a rough-legged hawk since I was taking pictures with film cameras. So, I'd really like to do that again. So those kind of things, there's a lot of things. A lot of people would like to see more hunting, you've said, but some people said more how-to videos showing the basics. So let me know what you would like to see in this new year. I also have been trying to kind of offset some of my costs. I've tried to open a merch shop. So so far I have these, the image from, from our podcast, kind of that photo of one of my peregrines that I use. But if you look down there, if you see something you like, go ahead and maybe you can support the channel that way. But I'm trying to better manage this channel. And so again, if you can give me your input, I appreciate also in the past everyone who has let me know what kind of videos you would like and given me ideas. And I try to read all those comments and try to make those videos accordingly. But I hope this new year will be a fantastic new year for everybody. We're going to be January tomorrow. We're going to start getting into the time where a lot of people, even though you're still flying, might be thinking, okay, in a few months, maybe I'm going to pull a wild bird. Maybe I'm going to get an IS falcon from the wild, or maybe I'm going to get a bird from a breeder. And so the mindset kind of starts to shift for a lot of people, where a lot of people right now, they are in the thick of the hunting season. But I hope that 2023 is a fantastic year for all of us. And I appreciate all your support for this channel throughout the past years and this year as well. And let me know what you would like to hear down in the comments. And as always, happy hawking.